So we just had some pretty big news come out regarding Jaire Alexander. It came out here from Ian Rapoport in the past hour. He says, sources, the Packers have had trade conversations centered around star cornerback Jaire Alexander, and they are open to moving him for the right price. Alexander, still just 28 and a two-time Pro Bowler, is considered to be the most decorated cornerback available. So that is not the most shocking news, especially when we look at what Gutekunst said yesterday, where he said in his press conference regarding Jaire potentially being in Green Bay next season. He said, we'll see. We're working through that. He certainly could be. We got to get him out there more. Not being able to be out there at his best has frustrated him, and that has obviously frustrated our football team too. And so I think that if Jaire had played a full season in 2024, if he had not dealt with injuries like he has consistently for the past couple seasons, I do not think the Packers would even be having any kind of these conversations because he still is under contract for 2 years with the Packers. When he's played, he has still played as a top-tier cornerback, and the reason the Packers are open to trading him is because of his injuries. That's what I believe there. And the thing with this whole situation, when you look at this, is if you're the Packers, you can release Jaire or you can trade him. Obviously, if you're the Packers, you'd rather get some compensation back in return for Jaire Alexander. The only thing is, how much are other teams really willing to trade away for Jaire, because other teams know the injuries he's dealt with. They know that he has not been consistently available. And so that's why I think if they do end up trading him, it's not going to be for a lot of draft capital. Maybe, like a 4th, 5th round pick. I just have a hard time believing that someone would trade away maybe a 2nd or a 3rd, not only because of his injury history, but also when you look at the other free agent options around at cornerback. You have DJ Reed, who is available, who I think is a similar level talent to Jaire. You have Charvarius Ward as well available, who struggled a little bit this past year. But both of those guys are available on the free agent market. And so with that being the case, if you're a team who is in need of a cornerback, are you going to, trade away draft capital for Jaire, who has injury risk, or would you rather pick up a guy in free agency where you're not having to give any kind of, draft capital away? And so because of that, I think that could push whatever Jaire's, value is out in the market. It could push it, make it him less valuable just because of these other guys who are out there available. And as I said, if Jaire was fully healthy, playing as, at the top tier level as he typically has when he's been out there, first off, the Packers would not be trading him. Second off, if he was to be traded, he would go for, he could go for a 1st round pick, I think. If he was fully healthy and playing as we've seen him play when he's been healthy, I do think he's a type talent where maybe at this point at his age, maybe he goes for a 2nd round pick at his, when he's healthy, but I don't think it would be shocking for a 1st round pick, maybe like a later 1st round pick. So with this news coming out, I think that we could see this potentially coming, and basing off of, Jaire at the end of the season saying that he wasn't sure if he would be back in Green Bay. From that point, it's sort of like you're looking at the situation saying, okay, well, it could make sense to move on from him for a lot of different reasons. And you look at the cap situation. If the Packers trade him before June 1st, it's pretty much the same situation as if they release him. Just from a cap perspective, he'd still have an $18.1 million dead cap hit, which would mean the Packers would save about $6.8 million on this year's cap. Now, if they were to trade him or cut him, post June 1st, you only have $7.8 million of dead cap hit in 2025 and $17 million of space there. So, the Packers have to decide if they want to have the dead cap hit all this year, or sort of split it up between the next couple seasons. So this will be something to watch as we move into, the next few weeks with free agency starting, all that kind of stuff. And with this coming out, it looks very likely that Jaire won't be back in Green Bay. I doubt, with him hearing that the Packers are, open to trading him, I just would have a hard time with him wanting to return to Green Bay if they, no longer want him to be around. So that's the most recent news. If you want more Packers content, feel free to subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys next time.